everyone. Is your to do list so long and overwhelming? Mine was too, and still can be at times, and it is constantly and consistently grows. Hi, I'm Lisa, certified life coach specializing in mindset shifting. I'm a Reiki master teacher, energy healer, and intuitive guide. And my journey towards personal self growth began from mental stress in 2009, where I learned at that time to examine my inner beliefs, my narratives, that were running on repeat. And I started to understand how my emotions influenced them through an endless feedback loop of information I had previously overlooked. And I decided to change, and that's when everything started to shift. Welcome to my show. We're here for the human experience, where we learn how to navigate our mind, body, and spirit connections. I was asked a question from my last episode about setting timers, so I decided to expand a little bit more on this subject because the process of timers has helped me. Like you, my list is long and daunting at times, and there are so many things to do and so little time, it seems, right? And we say that, right? So, breaking down how long our tasks or projects or responsibilities um, gives us a better sense of how we can manage our time or day. We do this already, but when we're looking at a whole bunch of tasks that we want to do or that long list, it's good to look at it and go, okay, well, I know that if I this takes this much time, that takes that much time, and if I need to, I can set a timer and go, I'm going to do spend half an hour on this task. I will either get it done or I will not, and I will set it aside and come back to it later. But it just allows that this is only going to actually take me 15 minutes, or this will only take me an hour if I actually just do it, right? And it reminds me of with kids, right? Myself, I did it as well. Kids do this, right? It's like, go and clean up your space, clean up your room, clean up this mess. And of course, in true human fashion, we'll whine. It's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I just want to go and do my thing, whatever that might be. And it's like, well, if we actually just look at this and go, well, if I just need to sort this out or tidy it up, right? It's going to take me 10 minutes and then I can move on. And then when I come back in or come to the space again, it's already tidy. It's like doing the dishes. If it's only going to take me half an hour or 15 minutes, do the dishes because I know that as I get the dishes done, first thing it's off my plate. Secondly, it makes me feel better because my kitchen counter space is clean and tidy. And then I don't feel like it's just hanging around in the back of my mind. So I like to look at how long things take. And like I say, if I have to set a timer to know that I don't have to be looking at my clock or I'm allotting this much time, then I do that because it does give me that sense of, okay, I don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to go and focus on this task at hand. So I will do that. And so as I began to mull over this stressor, I started to break it down into realizations. I always ask myself questions and I make note of how long each task will do to complete or make a dent in. And then it's about discerning, right? Like I said, we already do this throughout our days by setting, knowing how long it takes. If I got to run here, I got to run there, right? We know roughly how long that takes. But if you're looking at things and feeling overwhelmed, then break it down into smaller pieces. The timer, right? It's like I'll just sit here and do this, or I'll do this task for half an hour. I'll do it for an hour, however it goes. Even if you have big projects, if I spend 3 hours on this project right now, that's going to get me closer to the completion of my project, right? And yeah, for sure, sometimes it's easier said than done, of course. But if we're breaking it down for ourselves so that we can actually feel better, know what's going on, right? What do I like? What do I don't like, right? Discerning for ourselves, especially when we're feeling overwhelmed with all of the tasks that we have to do. So, one first super important thing to know, I can't get everything done on my list. Realistically, if our list is really long and there's all these things I want to accomplish or do in my lifetime, I'm never going to get them done because we're not supposed to, because our list keeps expanding and growing. Because that's about being, well, having the human experience, right? It's about having all these things that we can possibly do. Okay, so that's number one. I can't get everything done, so I want to make a priority. You know what your priorities are. This is about doing extra. We already know what we have to do in a day so that our day functions without a doubt. But if you're adding in extra things, and it's not really adding in extra things, it's more discerning the timeline for yourself. So, what are my top priorities besides the stuff that I already need to do, or I know that I am doing, or that I have to do for the function of my day? So, what are my top priorities? And I don't need to have my long list, break it down. What are my top priorities? What would I also want to know, so we already know what we have to do in a day. What else do I need to do? What am I putting off, right? Ask yourself those questions. Also, don't forget what you would like to do. What would I like to do for an hour? Do I have a project, a craft thing, something that is fun that I'm putting off because I have all these other things that I'm doing? Can I set aside time, right? So you want to know that, and you want to ask yourself that. Of course, it is about a balance between what I always have to do. Those are my responsibilities through the day, and to what I want to do. Because it's always, it's not all work. We have to have play. We totally do, because that helps our mental state. Okay. So here's another big one. What are your procrastination pinch points? We all have them. Procrastination, it can be debilitating for sure. And then it just nags at us. It's like, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Then we're shitting all over ourselves too. So, what are your procrastination pinch points? So, what is a task that you procrastinate on? If you really want to dig into that, ask yourself, what is it about this task that I don't like? How does it make me feel? Why does it make me feel this way? You're asking yourself to get to know yourself about that procrastination task, whatever it is. Because once you can figure out what it is, how it makes you feel, chances are you're going to be able to dissolve it and actually get those things done. And once you know, like once we have that awareness as to why things upset us or bother us or any of that, once we know, it really takes the energy out of things, and it helps us to release and have a better understanding and clarity to what is going on for ourselves. Not what everybody else says, what are we feeling, what are we thinking, all that kind of fun stuff, right? We have to ask ourselves questions. And procrastination can be a big one. And with the procrastination, there's guilt and shame, and there's a lot of energy that goes on with that. So if you can sit with yourself and ask, what is it about this task that makes me not want to do it? Then you have a better understanding as to, and then once you have that better understanding, you can actually accomplish the task. And I know once I broke down some of my procrastination points, it was like now I don't really, now I don't procrastinate on them because I know what's going on, and I set time aside for them so that I can actually get these tasks done, because I have to get these tasks done. That's just how life is, right? And we all have those. So another one, multitasking. So we're bouncing from task to task. That can either help us or hinder us. It depends on. It's all about discerning for yourself. So is multitasking helping you, or you're running around? Is it actually working, or are you feeling more depleted and exhausted? Something to ask yourself. Um, we also want to make a list what you want to accomplish, right? For the day, the week, the month, and knowing how much time you need or wish to allot to each of those items. When you're feeling stuck, and there's times in some of the tasks that I'm doing, I'm just like, okay, I'm at a moment where I just need to get up, stretch my body, because I'm at the computer. So I'm getting up and stretching my body. I might step outside and get some fresh air as well. And that just gives me that mental break. And then I go back. And that's maybe for about 2 minutes, because I still want to get that task done. So if I need that moment, then I walk away. And sometimes I feel that I need to walk away, and I will be like, no, this is just some energy rising up. It's old energy that's coming up. Just sit here for a second. Just take a deep breath. You're okay, and you don't need to run away per se, right? So we want to ask what is going on, and we want to make a list, right? So, and feeling stuck, get up and move around. Super important. We know how important it is to get outside and get some fresh air or move our body. One of the other things I totally love to do, and it helps me to connect in with myself and get to know myself, is I will ask my higher self. I know I have these four things, extra things that I want to do today, besides the stuff that I'm already responsible for. I have four things that I want to do today. Which one should I do first? And our intuition, our higher self, is like that multiple choice, super subtle first answer. And you totally know, because we all do. It's that subtle answer, do this task first. Once you do the task, because you already know what your task is, once then it's completed, then I will ask my higher self, well, now out of the four that I've done, or the one that I've done, now I have three. What's the next one I want to do? And that's just to help me build like that connection so that I can hear actually my intuition better. Because most of the time we hear it, we don't hear it. But now I'm really consciously asking, and I want to hear that. Like I say, it's very subtle and a multiple, like that multiple choice test. Your first answer is what, 99% of the time correct, right? Because we have the information in ourselves, right? We also want to be mindful of, we want to be flexible, right? As well. It's not about sticking to like 15 minutes. I'm going to set a timer 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is. And oh my God, when that timer bell goes off, then I need to move on. If you're almost done with the task, then give yourself that flexibility to spend a little bit more time. No different if you're exercising. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to do 10 minutes, and I know I always feel better after 10 minutes. I might do another 10 minutes because I'm actually getting into the groove and I feel good about it, right? So just be mindful of you, right? Be flexible. Don't pile on more than you can, right? Also create the boundaries for yourself and for others, and creating real expectations for yourself. Because if we aren't creating those real expectations, and not asking the questions, then that is also adding to our overwhelmed, excuse me, overwhelmed feelings. So bringing the recognition, awareness to our stressors brings them to light. Writing them down gets them out of our heads and making them more manageable. We know this, but it's just a friendly reminder, right? To not feel so overwhelmed. And like I said, the timer helped me immensely, because now I actually now know, well, it only takes me X amount of time to do these things. And so then I just feel better. And it's like, wait a minute. Then I feel like I have more time in the day, which is what I wanted, right? It's about our feelings, asking ourselves the questions. So when we are feeling out of control, remember to breathe and come back from your fight, flight, or freeze. And we don't have to allow our thoughts and emotions to take control and run amok in our lives. Everything is a choice. Breathe. Join me next week as we navigate more of our mind, the matrix of our mind, body, and spirit. And remember, we're here for the human experience, and you are stronger than you realize. Thanks, everyone. Take care and see you soon.